Alrighty guys, we're back on the Bay City mission today. It's not too cold out here, so I think it's a good day. Let's get this engine pulled out. Not gonna need this for the engine pull, but we got us some forks. I am gonna drag out the jib pole for the forklift and I don't understand, the fuel bleeding off issue seems to have magically gotten better. Let's get this show on the road. We got the mini service truck. We got our little forklift. And we got a Bay City that we need to start by pulling this whole side off. That door and this solid side panel, I believe, both have to come off. There's a row of bolts around the top. I think the catwalk may have to come off, but I'm not sure. Let's dig into it and get it rolling. Yeah. This has to come out in order for the gearbox here to clear. So when my cousin Scott restored this machine when he was in high school, so that was, 20 some years ago. I think it's been 23, 24 years since this machine was painted. He's gonna be over here after giving me a hand. He's at his son's basketball game right now. He's an assistant coach on that. He's gonna come give us a hand getting this engine out today. I mean, it's his machine after all, so we're here helping you, Scott. But anyway, when he had all these panels off and the engine out, back when they did that, I don't know who all did what, Grampers and him and his dad, Codge, they did a lot of work on this thing back then. The engine was completely froze up. They actually had to pull the head off. They were beating on the pistons with a 4x4 and a sledgehammer, I guess, in this engine to get it freed up. Maybe part of the reason we're now down a rod bearing. Oh well, let's get this thing knocked off and get this engine out. Probably ought to find a little container for all these bolts that we're going to be making. I think the catwalk is going to have to come off because these bolts are too long. It is nice when all this stuff has been done in the last 50 years. This machine has lived inside for some of that time, not all of that time. Much better access to our lower bolts now. So my plan here is we'll take just about all the bolts out. It's going to have to slip down out of that front lip and the roof. It'll come down out of that. What we'll do is we'll get all the bolts out, but like a couple. I have resorted to the Toyota as it's much more convenient to get on and off of than the loader. We'll put the forks right under the bottom and let it kind of drop out onto the forks, lean back against the fork guard and get her out of there. All right, so ultimately we're gonna end up dropping the panel down here on the forks. Also give me a little place to stand since we took the catwalk off. Finish getting these bolts out of there. Must be some weight on that one yet. Oh, somebody went in. All right, just hanging by that one bolt I left right now. Man, that thing's heavy. Now you can see how much easier we've made life by getting rid of that panel. This whole gear case is going to come with us. Then we'll swap that to the other engine out in the shop. Basically, this is your primary reduction. I think it's a gear setup. I don't think there's a roller chain in there. Besides here, used roller chains on that primary reduction. And there's a gear, the pinion gear comes out in there that starts driving all these open gears of the machinery. But all we really need to do now is unbolt the engine from the floor, fuel line, throttle linkage, little things like that, and it'll just come right out this way. Don't smash your head into the black fuel tank. It hurts. But now there's more light in here. You guys can see what we're up against. We have the gas line from the gas tank to the pony engine. We have our diesel line from that fuel tank down to the transfer pump. We have our throttle linkage over here. The exhaust pipe for the diesel is going to have to leave, as well as the exhaust pipe for the pony. Then we have the main clutch linkage coming underneath. That comes over to this. I guess really that pivot can stay with us. And then the fuel transfer pump. Back in the day, when these shovels are running, they'd bring up a drum of fuel and you'd just dip this hose down into the drum and hand pump it up into this tank. They didn't have a fuel truck coming around. I assume a lot of times it was probably like a barrel on the back of a pickup truck and they were just sucking it out of that barrel and refueling. But as you can see, it's really not a huge tank on this. Probably, I don't know, 20 gallon. This thing's only like a 100 horsepower engine. They really don't need that much fuel. Start taking stuff apart. Our gas line here to the pony engine. I'm just going to take it completely off so we don't have any issues there. I got the least destructive way to get the...
You're destructive already.
I know, I'm good at being destructive. These Caudry, you don't sound so good. Yep, that's the guy. I don't know if that'll come apart or not. Oh yeah. It was put in yesterday. Still think we might want to lose that manifold and the air cleaner just out of room for the jib pole coming through here.
Got the whole stud.
It is what it is.
Better get it up.
Did you have a game this morning or just practice?
It was a game.
Did you win?
Nope, lost by 1.
Oh, you're kidding me.
13-12.
That's Big John at John Deere with his bump cap. The problem is your brill stops you from seeing what you're about to collide with. Yep.
Good.
Yep. Next. Yep. Well, that was easy. I only see one in the back, unless, let me reach down in this nice hole. Yeah. Oh yeah, there's some inside. There's some down inside of this thing. Yep, so there's 3 more bolts. Awesome.
No way you can get the impact on those.
No, they're like around the bend in that hole.
What's the last one?
The middle hole of the 3 you took out.
Okay. Is that it?
Yeah, I think that's it. Unless there's one on Cause's side.
That one?
Yep. Go ahead. Yep. Hold on, I let off just a hair too soon. Yep. Yep. Is there any others on your side of this mount, Codge?
Better not be. I can't. There's no bolts.
Okay.
Bolts. That gearbox would prevent you from hitting on this side.
Okay. I would have thought you would have had to shim it for that gear interface there.
I'm sure we put it back the way it was.
Not with a precision gear backlash checkaroony?
Probably not. Speak of.
A couple more fun bolts here where the drive gear comes into the main machinery. Gonna get them out. Hi, Shaver. Hi, buddy.
How you doing, Turkey? That jam nut wasn't even a little bit tight.
See if we can break this one loose.
How you doing, little fella? How you like this? Want the impact?
Well, let's see. I got it broken loose at least. It's starting pretty well now. You got the wrench on her? Yeah, my goal was by noon o'clock to be pulling her out, so it's should be loose. Is there a digging bar laying down there or something? We can try to give her a little bumping. Yeah, the official Bay City wrench package.
Yeah, where's that?
I have no idea. I don't recognize that.
I don't remember seeing that.
It's a nice blue. Someone may have donated it. Scott just noticed we have one more down here. This thing is way excessively held down. So that makes 6 bolts, right? Yeah, 6 bolts on this side. 4 bolts on the back, plus the 2 that were over here by the actual gear. This thing, you could fall off the Grand Canyon. I think the engine will still be bolted in. You can't get there from here? Let me get this through here.
Ready?
Yeah, kinda. Yeah, go ahead.
Go.
Yeah. Oh, she jumped up, bud. All right, you're off. Let's see if she'll move at all. Oh, yep. Everything's moving. All right.
You're counterweight now.
Scott brought out the archives for us. What year did she go back together?
It should have been 1999, right before there was a big HCEA convention at Brownsville.
Geez, Cod, you don't look like you're 1,000 years old back then. Ah, you still look pretty old.
I bet.
Then poor forklift. Scrapped her last year. That's the 212 grader before it got painted. Also engineless. And the Byers in the background. The 2UD8 that's at Brownsville now. And really, that's not all that much reach.
Want to say bye-bye?
That's 6 foot. I don't know if that gets you enough.
Bye, Shaver. That's when it came home in 1987. See, it was a Frank Bryan machine as well. That was Gramper's 1984 Peterbilt 359. It's funny to think that truck's only 3 years old then. Before the LT was done, before we had the Talbert. It sat down in the field like that for quite a few years until Scott drug it up and started working on it here, which was 1999, we're saying. Late 98, early 99. That's me. At age 7 or 6. I remember playing on it when it was down there in the bottom, sitting like that. That's the bill of sale from it. 1941. Look at that, May of 1941 too. I'm amazed with the war and everything in May of 1941 that they got this machine bought before all production would have been to the war effort. That's this actual machine on Bay City's advertisement of it as well. And there's Scott, proud of what he had accomplished, as anyone should be. Nice and shiny back then, 25 years ago. Getting the jib pole dialed up on the forklift here. Do you have it locked? Or is it stuck? I thought I've had that moving. Like, I thought that was free. But I could be wrong. Don't think I've ever had to telescope this thing out. Yeah, keep leaning back. Lean back a bunch. Keep leaning back. Yep. Cut right a bunch. Go up. Up, 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 up. Yep. Are you going to be able to side shift right a bunch, Kodge? He's got to get the forklift moved further that way, I think. Like, you need to have the tip of the forks that way a fair bit. You're going to have to about just miss the door, I'd say, with the boom. Hold up. Get all we can get there. Pretty much all I can get on this side. I guess give her a whirl. Start with leaning her back.
Tight now?
Can he? Yeah, I was like, if you side shift towards Scott, it may help. Side shift to your left.
Problem is that front corner is gonna mess us up.
It's still touching, actually. Oh, now you're free now. Yeah. You're hanging free.
Your side's hitting.
Hold on.
If you just push them around.
Hold on, hold on.
Oh. That's hitting the. Yeah, we should have been coming in crooked. We can side shift.
Well, the clutch linkage is about to be hitting that door.
Oh.
If he pulls in and cuts right?
Yeah. Pull in, cut real hard, do right.
Well, not right now.
Yeah, but over here we're hitting.
Have him come forward. We're caught on this pretty good right now.
He'll go forward right now. We're stuck. Oh. Alright.
If he, where did that wrench bar thingamabob go?
Up here.
That clutch is in like just the wrong place. Hold on, that clutch linkage is about to be hitting over there. Ah. He come back in a little bit.
You want to cut?
Yeah, can you? Oh, you know what? Go up. Up will help. A little more up. Yep. Go ahead back.
Right back.
Yeah. All right, hold on. Oh, you can't. Keep going. Easy, easy. Woo, take her slow, bud. Hold up, stop. Can you side shift to your right? Yep. Go, hold on. We might need to get rid of this guard.
Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead back.
Back.
All right, side shift left. Your left. And then now you can cut it and get the front end away from the back here.
Cut it so
Yep.
got it.
Whew. That was more exciting than I expected. It is tight in there. But she's out. The real question is, did we beat noon? Oh, 3 minutes to spare. Yeah. I told Pop I'd have it out by noon, and it's 11:57.
Comes Judy Lou to check on you.
Mrs. Diesel Gas. Let's see what she does. That worked out all right. Let's get her unchained and go grab the other one. So you can see how very different these front ends are. I'm gonna throw some crib blocks under the pan here just to be able to set this down, because ultimately we're gonna have to take off the bell housing and this front mount. So I think right now, if I can get it to kind of set on the pan, well, maybe I'll throw a block under the pan and then maybe 2 blocks under this end. Let's see what we can make happen. What could go wrong? Seems good and solid. Blocks on this side concern me a little bit. Guess they shouldn't. So I'm playing kind of some of the, compare the differences on these two 4600 game, and there's quite a few. We know that the one in the Bay City is a 1941 well, I shouldn't say we know. I'm 90% sure this is 1941, original to the Bay City itself. This that's out of the number 12 grader, I'm not 100% sure the year, but I can tell you it's definitely newer. The reason we know it's newer is this one has the pony motor exhaust going through the intake manifold to preheat it. Most all cats you see from the 40s, 50s, 60s, they're going to be like that. To be the way this one in the Bay City was is, in my eyes, pretty rare. What you have going on there, in case anybody doesn't know, is the pony exhaust isn't dumping into the engine. It's running through a tube and comes back out, but it's just working as a heat exchanger to warm up the air that's going into the diesel engine to be a bit of a preheater, mainly for wintertime use, things like that.
Told the wife I was stopping over here for 2 minutes to pull an engine, just helping him guide it out of the machine, be home in time for dinner.
Oh, we're guiding. We're guiding some bolts right out of it.
You were guiding hours before I got here.
But I told you we're going to have her out by 12 o'clock, and by God, for once in my life.
This can's got some arse behind her.
Oh yeah, she'll put her in there. That's the big can, I'll have you know.
I see that.
There's nothing here worth seeing. So step one on the grader engine here, we've made step one, is get the pony engine out the way, which some of this looks pretty fun. For instance, there's bolts on the other side, like this guy here, that are buried between the diesel block and here. So we're getting the bell crank, whatever you want to call it, compression release rod we're going to try to get it pulled out of the way so we can get an extension and a universal joint in to get those bolts out on the other side. Boy, something looked like it's sure holding you up.
Just trying to get her set. Knock the paint off it. Oh, she's moving.
It moved a little click.
Where's that awesome air hammer that I had let you borrow?
Probably in your truck.
I think it is.
Hold on. Do you think you have to take that bolt completely out, or is it going? Because like sometimes they have that notch,
No,
you know what I mean?
It's moving. I don't see. No, there's definitely nothing that's holding.
Oh, you're kidding me? I didn't have that recording.
God damn it! Well, you can't be getting rid of these high-head catapults.
Professional forklift operator, man.
I am forklift certified, actually.
And I didn't hit the record button. These things happen, they say.
I've heard that.
That's what we tell Puff on the camper, right?
Sure.
Uh-oh, oh no!
That's going to be the limitations, the open differential.
Yeah. That's where the Volvo forklift really shines.
It's like a forklift, but for men.
Yep.
You gonna say the carburetor and stuff on this place?
Oh yeah. We need the magneto and the carburetor, but it's all been outside, so why not be outside now? Let's get old Terex fired up. She can help us start pulling the heads, radiators, things like that off. Uh-oh. So I pulled the propane Venturi mixer off of this thing, and you can see how it works. We have our airflow comes through this way, and it is a eductor Venturi, kind of like a carburetor, where it gets small, so we have higher air velocity, which means lower pressure, having it help draw in the propane, which is in these rings along the edges. The newer style ones actually have a positive displacement diaphragm. This is kind of the old way of doing it. So I don't think this is great. I think it probably all feeds into, remember when we had the pressure regulator apart, we didn't see anything terrible in there, but the only sensing it has is basically the vacuum created by the air flowing through this thing. So I think it may be time to upgrade what we're doing here propane-wise. In the meantime, I think I'm gonna pull the carburetor off, see if we can get that cleaned out, see if we can get this thing running on gasoline, because even though it will stink up the shop and it's not as nice as propane, I think it's our faster solution. We can get this thing running, be able to use it. But the biggest problem is it's buried down in here. There is very little room to work on this thing, so we have to make our best of it. So I laid face down in that engine bay for a little while. Got the carburetor pulled out. I'm gonna try to clean her out and see if we can get her running on gasoline. All right, so I got the old torch cleaner here. I'm gonna try to clean out some of these jets. I don't know that I have any small enough on this set. But I can tell you one thing, there is zero chance that this would have run had we not taken the time to take all this out. Because jets like this one, they are just completely clogged up. There we go, we could drive out a slug of dirt with the torch cleaner here. But yeah, there was not a chance that without doing this, pulling everything out, that we were going to have success. So this is the way to go, ultimately, at the end of the day. I thought maybe we could fiddle with it and make sure we were getting gas and power and this, that, and the other, which we may still have to do those steps, but they could have been getting everything in the world and nothing would have happened. Alrighty, guys, thanks to our favorite hardware store in the world, we have our new little ball joint to replace the one I got a little horny with on the other side of this governor linkage. Get the carburetor back on. I got some fresh gas after we about died from the smell of the horrible varnishness last night. Got it all drained out. Let's get her back together, see if we can get her running. Oh, there she goes. Seven. Right, Big O? He said we're getting that one more senior hunter pass this year.
We are?
He told me.
Because we were discussing this today with Roger, that he's about to be 7. And I said, well, that means Russell and Odie are too.
Got our handy dandy new solenoid here. Let's get her installed. Alrighty, let's see what she does. Leave the choke on here a little bit. It's alive! It's alive! Well, how well does she restart? That ain't bad. I'm gonna switch this thing back to single part hook mode for tearing apart these engines. I had it in 2-part for Matt's D9 blade. I doubt we'll be lifting anything that heavy for a while, so single part will be fine. We can lift, I believe, 7,500 pounds or so line pull on single part line, so most of the time that's just fine. Just stick the bucket back on. This guy pins directly onto our ball. And it goes back on. I still need to set this guy. which obviously the weight of stuff will set it just fine. That just lives there. Well, I wanted to start working on these engines over the weekend. It's now Wednesday, few parts and nights of working on the T-Rex later. We have a crane again. I still need to figure out what we're gonna do with propane. I think the new mixer I got is gonna require the new regulators. I don't think the new regulators will work with that old Venturi style mixer. I also think that's just not a great way to go. There's no real mechanical diaphragm moving to increase the amount of propane you're getting or anything like that. You're pretty much totally relying on the pressure of the air going through that Venturi. Obviously, the more air that's going through, the lower the pressure, the more vacuum gets pulled, and the more propane comes in. That being said, I think we need to upgrade old T-Rex here to a more modern style propane setup. I do still want to be able to run on propane. A lot of times we're going to be in the shop like we are right now. The fumes from gasoline are not great. So propane, very advantageous for that. I think being dual fuel again will have its advantages when we're outside working, when we're working on a D9, things like that. Gasoline is much easier to obtain than propane. We won't need to throw an extra cylinder on the back to make sure we're ready for the day. So having both has its advantages. That being said, next up, we'll start diving into these cats. I think at this point, I'm not 100% sure what route we're gonna take. Might pull the heads and actually rebuild the Bay City engine with the Grader engine. There's so many differences that I think it's gonna be hard to leave the engines alone and do all the external swaps. It's kind of 6 in this sand, half dozen in the other. So still trying to decide what the best route to take is. I did a little bit of research. Cat has the O-rings for the liner. They do not have the head gaskets for these 4600s, and they also do have the copper washer that sits below the top of the liner, seals that to the block. But they want $138 a piece times 6. I think that's a little bit extreme myself. So we may measure, make, reuse something there, because I think I could draw them up, get them lasered out. It really wouldn't be that big a deal. I think they're just a little copper washer, like I said. So that's obviously going to affect the liner protrusion. We're going to have to, of course, check all that, check our deck for straightness, and go from there. That will be our next episode. We'll be tearing into the two 4600s, see which route we take. Do we pull the heads? Do we pull the radiator, front cover, rear front cover, bell housing, do all those changes, or do the internal swap? Not sure yet. This weekend, we're going to tear into it, and one way or another, parts are going to get changed, and we're going to come up with a better running, less slobbery Bay City engine. Thank you guys for watching. Tune in next time.